All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into a huge topic, one you've definitely run into in books, movies, maybe even video games: dystopia. We're going to break down what that word really means, how these dark worlds come to be, and most importantly, why they still matter so much.
Okay, let's just start with the core definition right here. A genre of speculative fiction that presents a nightmarish vision of society. Wow. Okay, so it gets pretty intense right away. It goes on to say this happens when oppressive control, environmental collapse, or technological domination leads to widespread suffering and loss of freedom. So you see, it's not just a bad place, it's a bad place created for very specific reasons. So to really get a handle on this, let's break that big definition down into three main ideas. It's actually pretty straightforward when you look at it this way.
First up, these stories are speculative fiction. Now, this isn't just wizards and dragons, okay? It's all about taking something real from our world today. Some trend, some piece of tech, some political idea, and asking a really chilling question: what if we just let this go, all the way? It's the ultimate what-if game. Second, we're not just talking about a society that's, a little bit broken. This is a full-on nightmarish vision. Think about that phrase for a second. It means the world itself, the system, has gone so profoundly wrong that it's practically designed to create fear, oppression, and to basically strip away everything that makes you, you.
And number three, the future setting. You might think that's just for cool flying cars and stuff, but no, it's actually a really clever storytelling move. By setting it in the future, these stories become this powerful warning sign. It's like the author is holding up a mirror and saying, hey, you see this? This is where we could end up if we're not careful.
All right, so we've got the what. But what about the how? How does a society get to be this bad? Well, it usually comes down to one of three major causes. Understanding where the nightmare comes from is key to understanding the whole point.
And here they are: oppressive control, environmental collapse, and technological domination. Now, you can think of these as three different roads to the same terrible destination. And, a lot of the time, they're not even separate roads. They intersect and feed into each other, making things even worse.
So let's start with the big one: oppressive control. This is probably what you think of first, right? Some all-powerful government or maybe a mega corporation that has its fingers in every single part of your life, telling you what to think, what to feel, and exactly who to be. Individual freedom, yeah, that's gone. And here's the really insidious part. It's not always just about force. The real control comes from things like nonstop propaganda, constant surveillance, think Big Brother, always watching, or even social engineering, where people are conditioned from birth to fit into a certain box. It's about getting inside your head.
Okay, because number two is one that feels incredibly relevant today: environmental collapse. Imagine a world where we've just wrecked the planet. The society that has to scramble and survive in that kind of hostile world, well, it's almost always a brutal, desperate one, where basic rights are a luxury nobody can afford.
And that brings us to the third path, which is technological domination. This is where all our amazing breakthroughs, AI, genetic modifications, surveillance tech, get turned against us. Instead of setting us free, technology becomes the very bars of the cage. It's a very modern fear, for sure.
So you see the pattern here, right? It doesn't matter if the cause is a dictator, a dead planet, or a rogue AI. The end result is always the same: widespread suffering and a profound loss of freedom on every level. Now here's a twist. You can't really get what a dystopia is all about without talking about its polar opposite, its twin, really, and that's utopia. The two are completely connected.
I mean, the name itself pretty much gives the game away. Dystopia comes from Greek, and it literally just means a bad place. Simple, direct, and it gets right to the point. It's the exact opposite of a good place. And this is where it gets really fascinating. A utopia is the dream of a perfect world. A dystopia, on the other hand, is the warning. It shows us how that very same search for perfection, for total harmony, or absolute safety can go horribly, horribly wrong. It exposes the dangers hidden inside the dream. And this is maybe the most chilling idea of all. A lot of these nightmare worlds didn't start out as nightmares. They actually started out as someone's idea of a perfect world. But they reveal the terrifying price you have to pay for that so-called perfection. You have to sacrifice freedom, creativity, and all the messy parts that make us human. So this all leads to the big question, the so what, right? Why should we care about these dark, depressing, fictional stories? What's the point? Well, it's because they act like a massive thought experiment. They challenge us to think about, and I'm quoting here, the cost of security, stability, or happiness, if that cost is our basic freedom. They hold up that mirror and force us to ask ourselves, what trade-offs are we willing to make right now?
And that leaves us with one final, kind of uncomfortable question. It's the question that sits at the very heart of every single one of these stories. When you look at the warnings, and then you look at our world today, you just have to ask, how close are we to this reality? And that is something to think about.